Hey, ninth graders. Okay, you need a blank sheet of paper, and we're gonna fold it. We have to make 12 boxes. So let's start by folding it in half this way, and then we'll try to do like a tri-fold after this so that we can have 6 boxes on the front and 6 boxes on the back. So when we do a tri-fold, I usually just hold it like this, and I fold in the 2 sides. And I do it really poorly. That's the only criteria. It's okay. Could have been worse, am I right? All right, so connect those. This one's a little bit difficult. I mean, not too difficult for me though, obviously. Okay, we are going to number these. On the front side, we are going to make it 1 through 6. On the back side, we are going to make it 7 through 12. So let's begin. I've got this weird thing where I like always put the lamination on the back. So I'm gonna put 1 right here, and I'm gonna switch to a marker so you can see it a little bit better. Number 2, 3, 4. And before we get too far on here, let's just write, actually, I don't know what I want you to title this. On the back side, we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so we are going to try problem number 1 together. And as you can see in today's Nearpod, there are questions that go with number 1, but we're going to start by looking at the graph, and I'm going to kind of talk to you about each of these questions. Okay, so here's the first graph that we're looking at. And question number 1 asks what the domain is. So on our paper, we're going to write the word domain, but what is the domain here? You can see domain is always going to be how far to the left a graph goes, and then how far to the right a graph goes. So if I am looking at this domain right here, I would say that the furthest left it goes is right here, and the furthest right is all the way over to here. So that starts at 0. And what is this counting by? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It is counting by tens. So it goes to 110, 120. So my domain is going to go from 0 to 120, and we're going to have a comma between them. So let's go ahead and write that on our paper. Okay, so we said that the domain, and we can just use the letter D for domain, would have started at 0, and it goes to 120. So let's then talk about the range, because we also need to find the range according to this Nearpod. So instead of flipping back and forth between the digital file, I'm just going to look at this like hard copy paper. So the lowest that this graph goes for my range is down at 0, and then it goes up. And remember, for the range, we use the y-axis. The highest that this graph goes, what is this counting by? 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, 10,000. It looks like the y-axis is counting by 2,000s. So I would go 12,000, 14,000, 16,000 would be my upper end of the range. So I would go from 0 to 16,000. Okay, the next thing it asks me to find is f of 100. So f of 100 would mean that my input is 100. So on my graph, if the input is 100, what would the output be? Well, that is at 10,000. And what is that talking about? It's talking about how far away it is. So we would say f of 100 equals 10,000 feet away. Okay, the next one. Is this discrete or continuous? Looking at this graph, I can clearly tell that there are no breaks in the domain or the range. So we would call this continuous. By the way, I think these were like A, B, C, D. So now we are on E. It said find the rate of change from 0 to 30. So 0 to 30, rate of change. Well, if I'm going from 0 to 30 for my rate of change, I start at 0, I go to 30, and what is the rate of change there? Well, you can see it started at 0, 0, it ended right here. That went up 4,000 to the right 30. So it went up 4,000 feet, and I'll put that in my numerator. and it went to the right 30 minutes. Now, if I divide 4,000 by 30, 4,000 divided by 30 gives me 133.3 repeating. So I would say approximately 133.3 feet per minute. And lastly, part F, what does the term f of t equals 14,000 mean? Well, it's trying to tell you that the output is 14,000. So let's find on our graph where the output is 14,000. Here's 12,000 and there's 14,000. That would be at an input of 110. So I would say t equals 110 minutes. And this is the kind of stuff that you will interpret for every problem on today's practice. Go ahead and read the instructions, make sure you're following along with what I say, and good luck. Ask me or Mr. Bodley if you have any questions.